I still remember the exact moment my life started to fall apart. I was sitting at my kitchen table, holding a piece of paper I didn't understand. My hands were shaking, not because I was weak, but because something inside me told me this paper was dangerous. Across from me sat my 3 children, and none of them were looking at me the same way anymore. That was the moment I realized I might be losing my home, not to strangers, but to my own family. My name is Margaret. I am 72 years old, and I never thought my own children would try to take my home from me. I lived in that house for 38 years. I raised my children there. I buried my husband from that house. I built my entire life inside those walls. So when my children told me I could no longer live alone, I believed they were trying to protect me. At first, it started at my kitchen table. My oldest son, Daniel, sat across from me. "Mom, we think it's time." "Time for what?" I asked. "Assisted living," he said gently. I laughed nervously. "I'm not dying, Daniel, I'm just getting older." But he didn't laugh. Neither did my daughter Karen. Even my youngest son Michael stayed quiet. That silence scared me more than their words. A few days later, Daniel came back with brochures. Beautiful places, clean rooms, smiling elderly people in photos. "It's safer there," he said. Safer. That word stayed in my mind, because I never felt unsafe in my home, until they started talking like I was. Then Karen came with a notebook. Inside were my bank accounts, my insurance, my expenses, my property details. I looked at her. "Why do you have this?" "Just organizing things," she said. But it didn't feel like organizing. It felt like preparing for something I wasn't being told. Then one day, while packing my things, I found an envelope. It was hidden behind an old cabinet. My husband Robert's handwriting was on it. He had been dead for 4 years. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a legal document, a power of attorney, and my signature was on it. But I had never signed it. That was the moment everything changed. I didn't confront my children. I called an attorney instead. Her name was Susan. And when she saw the document, her face changed immediately. "Margaret, this is not valid the way it's being used." My heart dropped. "What do you mean?" She leaned forward. "Someone is trying to take control of your life legally." Then she told me something worse. Daniel had already contacted a real estate agent. My house was being prepared for sale, while I was still living in it. But the most dangerous part wasn't the sale. It was the story they were telling others. That I was confused. That I was forgetful. That I was not thinking clearly. Because once people believe that, they stop listening to you. That night I sat alone in my kitchen. The same kitchen where I raised my children. And I realized something painful. This wasn't protection. This was control. Susan investigated further. And what she found changed everything. My husband Robert had left behind a hidden legal structure. A family trust. The house was already protected. It could not be sold the way my children planned. I wasn't losing my home. I was being pressured out of it. Then Susan gave me another envelope. Inside was a handwritten note from Robert. Only a few lines. But they changed everything. He had written, "If Daniel ever tries to convince you that you cannot manage your life, don't fight immediately. Just ask him one question. Where did the money go?" That was when I understood. This was never just about me. Daniel was in financial trouble. Debt, pressure, fear, and he saw my house as a solution, not as a home. The next family meeting was different. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just listened. And when Daniel asked me to sign the papers, I placed everything on the table. The trust documents, the legal proof, and Robert's letter. Silence filled the room. Daniel's face changed. Because for the first time, he realized I knew everything. Karen started crying. Michael looked lost. And I finally spoke. I am not your responsibility to control. I am your mother, not your property. That day, something shifted. I didn't lose my children, but I stopped letting them make decisions for me. I set boundaries. Clear ones. Strong ones. Necessary ones. A month later, Michael came back alone. He didn't talk about money. He didn't talk about the house. He just helped me plant flowers in the backyard. For the first time in a long time, I saw my son again. Not someone trying to manage me. Just my son. Now I understand something very clearly. Love and control are not the same thing. Concern and ownership are not the same thing. And aging does not mean surrendering your voice. I still live in my home. The same kitchen. The same walls. The same maple tree my husband planted years ago. But I live differently now. With awareness. With boundaries. With strength I didn't know I still had. If there is one thing this story teaches us, it is this. Not every "we are worried about you" is protection. Sometimes it is control in disguise. As we get older, we must remember. Ask questions. Read every document carefully. Never sign under pressure. And never assume family cannot make mistakes. Because your voice does not expire with age. And your life does not become someone else's decision. If this story made you think about trust, family, and independence, please take a second to like this video. And subscribe for more emotional true life stories like this one. Because sometimes, the people closest to us are the ones we need to see most clearly. Hit like button and share your thoughts on decision made by Margaret in comments.